Hello. I was born in the great year of 2000. The PlayStation 2 was released, Sydney was hosting the Olympic Games, and NSYNC had the biggest selling album of the year. But I don't remember any of that. What I do remember is in my formative years between the ages of 10 to 13, I was regularly exposing my ears to 2000s rock music with bands such as Green Day, Linkin Park, and Nickelback. Don't believe the hate, guys. Nickelback? They have some pretty damn good music. As I got older, I started producing electronic music on a little program called FL Studio. Also, as I got older, my appreciation for different types of music has grown, and my appreciation for rock music has grown immensely. Looking back on everything, rock music has been a huge part of my life, and a huge part of my family's life. I mean, I played a Metallica song at my uncle and auntie's wedding. So anyway, the point of this is, I wonder if I can translate my skills that I've learnt from making EDM music into making rock music. So here we are. I guess we're about to find that out. So the first thing we are going to need is arguably the most important part of any rock song. I mean, what is the first thing you think of when you think of rock music? The guitar. Now, I must admit, I already had a pretty big advantage coming into this challenge. I started learning the guitar at a pretty young age, between the ages of about 9 and 10. And what I used to learn to play was rock music. So you could say I'm using cheat codes. So the first thing we needed for this song was a bit of direction, and what better way to create direction than to write down a few chords. Put that into a chord progression with a strumming pattern, we get a pretty good direction for our rock song. So now that we have our chords and we have our strumming rhythm, the next step was to record them and put them onto my laptop. So as you can see here, I have my acoustic guitar and they're labeled acoustic C, acoustic L, and acoustic R. Now as you can see from the waveforms, these are just slightly different in the slightest of ways. I attempted to play the guitar exactly the same 3 times over, and because I'm a human and not a computer, I naturally cannot play the exact same thing over and over and over again, so it creates slight differences. The other important thing is panning. Acoustic guitar C is acoustic guitar center, acoustic guitar L is acoustic guitar left, and acoustic guitar R is acoustic guitar right. By adding the 3 separate recordings and putting one down the middle, one on the left, and one on the right, we get a much fuller guitar sound. So the acoustic guitar was used as a verse element in the song, but it wouldn't be a rock song without a heavy, distorted electric guitar. And this distorted electric guitar is going to be used in the chorus section. Again, you'll notice from the recording, we have 3 separate guitar channels. So these were all recorded individually, and again, we're triple tracking our electric distorted guitar to create that big full sound. So there was a slight variation to the normal strumming pattern in the chorus. I wanted to add a sort of guitar solo section in between the distorted guitar, so I simply did 2 hard strums on each chord, and then I filled it with a guitar riff. So if you're wondering what I used on the mixing side of this electric guitar, I used this guitar amp plugin called Amped by Stevie T, and I used the Banana preset. Now this version is just the free version of this Amped plugin, and it creates that really nice distorted guitar sound that we're going for. As I mentioned, there was a guitar riff in between those down strums. Now this is a simple little riff I came up with. And again, I recorded that into the DAW with the distortion plugin on, and I recorded that 3 times to get that triple tracked big full guitar sound. Now when we combine that with our first rhythm distorted guitar, we get quite a cool contrast of heavy chords and a nice little guitar riff. Alright, so those guitars are sounding pretty good, so I guess it's time to move on to the next very important step. Now my small bedroom studio setup doesn't quite have the space allowance to allow me to have a full-sized rock drum kit in here, so we're going to have to improvise and use the next best thing. Since my drum kit was coming from singular sample-based drum sounds, my goal was to create a drum kit that would sound like an actual, real, authentic, humanly played drum kit. So I searched around Splice and I managed to find a collection of samples that sounded like real drums. And then I put them all together and used them in a way that a real life drummer probably would. So we have our kick, our snare, a hi-hat, we have our first tom drum, second tom drum, third tom drum, and our fourth tom drum. Then we have a huge collection of cymbals, including a ride, a crash, another crash again, and finally, a crash. So now that we have our samples together, I need to arrange them in a way that an actual rock drummer might play them. For the verse, I kept it quite simple and easy going. To transition from the verse to the chorus, I created this snare and tom sort of fill section. And then as we go into the chorus section, which is where we introduce our distorted guitar, I liven up the drums a bit, I add some more cymbals and add the rides in, and the drum beat just becomes a bit more energetic. Finally, once we hit that riff section, I constructed the drums to sort of fit with how the guitars are playing. And here's the drums while playing alongside the guitars. To transition out of the chorus into the break section, again, I just created a snare and tom fill. Perfect, so we have our guitars, we have our drums, but I feel like there's something missing. I swear, bands usually have 3 members. Oh wait, the bassist. Now I feel like bassists are the most disrespected, underappreciated, and frankly just neglected member of every rock band. I mean, a lot of bassists are just referred to as the guy on stage looking bored. But guys, there is a reason why bands have 3 members. The bassist is absolutely vital. You cannot have a thick, heavy rock track without a bass player. If you're not convinced, then I'm about to show you why they are so important. So again, I'm limited in my production here. I don't actually own a bass guitar, but again, I have the next best thing. I have FL Studio, and FL Studio actually comes with a nice little Ibanez bass. built right into your laptop. So I just used this VST plugin and created the chord progression in my piano roll, and it's really just as simple as that. As simple as sort of just making a natural pattern within your piano roll. So for the verse section, I did make sort of a chill, sort of a bit more funky sounding bass, and that just sort of blends into the sort of down tempo, chill sort of verse section. In the chorus section, I made the bass a bit more constant, just sort of playing those constant chords along with the distorted guitar. And for the riff section, I just made the bass play 2 sort of stabs like the chords are playing. So firstly, I'm going to play the guitars and the drums without the bass. Immediately, you can notice something is missing here, and that's our bass player. Much thicker. We're really getting somewhere here. All our instruments are really starting to come together. I guess the only thing to do is hook up the microphone and record some vocals and make this into a true rock hit. So I really thought I should put some effort into both the writing and the singing process of these vocals. As I sat down and tried to write some deep and meaningful lyrics, I realized I am not nearly as troubled as I should be to be a rock star.
Energy comes out of the outlets into our amplifiers.
So I booted up Uncle Google and utilized the next best thing to Kurt Cobain's brain, dark poetry. I simply just pulled some lines from random dark poems and compiled them into essentially song lyrics to create a somewhat coherent verse and chorus section. And as easy as that, we're done. We've written a song. So singing actually is not that easy, and I'm not a singer at all. But when recording vocals, it's important to just get as many takes as you possibly can. This is just my chorus section. So I sang that chorus over and 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 over again. And that was just so I had heaps and heaps of takes. I could pick out the best parts of each. Now, I will admit, I did put a bit of correction on my voice. As I said, I'm not exactly a singer, so my voice sort of needed it. You'll also notice here that in my verse section, I have a main vocal, and then I have some layers on top of it as well. This life is a flight, or is it nothing but a free fall? Spiraling through the fields of emptiness, we don't know if it'll end at all. Now, you'll hear that there's a little bit of reverb and a little bit of delay on there. These are just simple mixing techniques to make the vocal stand out a bit more and sound a bit more full in the whole song. As for the chorus, I have triple tracked my vocal for the entire chorus. So I wanted my vocal in the chorus to sound a bit thicker and a bit more full than the verse. Into the fire, I'm right where I should be, where I should be. Under the stars, I feel a tragedy, burning into nothing. So it's as easy as that. Now we have our vocals, we have our guitar, we have our drums, we have our bass. Our song's almost complete, but we're missing just one more crucial step. No rock song would be complete without a face-melting guitar solo. So you can see here that the guitar solo is broken up into 4 separate parts. This first bit is just a little soft guitar fill, and this plays along with the acoustic guitar in the break section before the guitar solo actually comes in with all the heavy, distorted, energetic instruments. I tried to write a guitar solo that sort of mimicked the chorus vocal melody, and then I just added a few moments of source in there just to make it feel like a real guitar solo. We end the guitar solo with the riff that we've been using in the chorus. So I think we have everything we need for this rock song. I guess the last thing to do is just to listen.
This life is a flight, or is it nothing but a free fall? Spiraling through the fields of emptiness, we don't know if it'll end at all. I've started to snap myself into pieces and blow them into the dark, met with a fog of uncertainty and clouds with the tone of death. Into the fire